stupid retard? You can't even let me speak, you idiot retard. Go ahead.
Can you speak, you fucking idiot?
On that one. Hey, you guys are so dumb. You think I made only 16
more? There's a certain kind of person the internet decides it's done with. Not overnight. It takes time. It takes moments. It takes a slow, grinding accumulation of things that don't quite sit right. Jack Doherty had already reached that point for most people. But then something shifted. And not in the way these things usually do. Not another viral clip. Not another controversy that burns hot for 48 hours and disappears. This felt quieter, slower, like something that had been building behind walls nobody was allowed to look behind, finally cracked open.
Take your stuff?
I think!
What the fuck?
Oh no, I said first my baggies to give your fucking bag!
He took your purse?
I don't know!
McKinley, where?
Oh my god!
Where's the key? Where's the key?
Okay.
And once people started looking, they couldn't stop. Here's the thing about chaos when it's on camera. It's easy to watch, easy to scroll past, easy to file under that guy again, but there's a moment where the chaos stops feeling like entertainment and starts feeling like evidence, where you're not laughing anymore, you're just watching, waiting, trying to figure out what you're actually looking at. That shift happened. And once it did, there was no going back. A 5-hour interview doesn't just appear. Something has to push someone to that point. Some decision gets made that staying quiet costs more than speaking. And when she finally spoke, it wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. It was measured, detailed, the kind of account that doesn't feel performed, because performed things don't linger like this did.
We're not hiding anywhere. Like, we were in a party bus, like, very out in the open. And I was sitting in my seat, every type of thing, freaking out, so much anxiety. And then I hear the car door open. And I pop my head up, and I'm like, okay, everyone's back, like, finally time to go. When I looked up from the seat, I make eye contact with the guy I'd never seen before, in a surgical mask. Like, it wasn't the two guys in shiesties that I had seen, it was a guy with a bag.
What she described wasn't just a toxic situation, it was something more suffocating than that. Affection that always seemed to have a purpose, closeness that somehow always circled back to content, to numbers, to what the moment could produce. And the question that started gnawing at people wasn't whether she was telling the truth, it was why none of it was surprising. Because looking back, it kind of made sense of everything. The clips people had already seen started playing differently in their heads. Moments that felt reckless started feeling deliberate. Moments that felt spontaneous started looking scripted. The chaos, that signature constant, relentless chaos, stopped looking like personality. It started looking like strategy. Like the mayhem wasn't a side effect of who he was.
Just start laughing. I didn't think it was funny. I guess they were just like, because Jack had never brought up OnlyFans to me, so it was like, because he made everyone else do it. Very awkward. Yeah, he made everyone else do it. Which was, it's sad looking back on it, because that was something I respected. I was like, I respect the fact that he cares about my beliefs, and he understands that.
It was the product. And if attention is the entire point, then where does the line go? Because the line kept moving, that much became clear. First it's pushing boundaries, then it's ignoring them. Then it's a pattern so established that nobody around it even registers it as a pattern anymore. It just becomes the environment, the normal. And when the camera never turns off, when everything, every moment, every emotion, every crisis becomes potential content, something gets lost.
Literally was excited over the fact that we were going to make the most money we have ever made in our lives. It wasn't because he was excited to have a baby with me and have a family and start a new era.
Something important, something human. There were specific moments people kept coming back to, situations that didn't add up, breakdowns that were timed a little too well, dangerous moments where the camera somehow always stayed on. Not because someone forgot to turn it off, but because turning it off was never the instinct, and then the story that really stuck. Not because it was the most dramatic, but because the reaction was wrong. Someone shaken, scared, asking for things to stop, and the response wasn't comfort, it wasn't stillness. It was continuation. That's the detail people couldn't shake.
Toxic in the beginning, why was I with him? But he wasn't. He was amazing. And I want people to know that, like, I didn't put myself in a toxic situation, but he was so different in the beginning. And I know, like, what people see of him online, like, it's obviously negative and all this stuff, but that wasn't who I fell for. It was not that. It was a protector. It was a provider. It was someone that had respect for me and, you know, just made sure I was okay, and opening the car door for me, taking me out to dinner, very respectful.
because it said something about priorities that no explanation could really undo. There's a moment in every situation like this, one single moment, where whatever's been holding the illusion together finally gives way. For her, it sounds like it might have been a conversation that should have carried weight, should have felt like a turning point, something serious, maybe even life-altering, but instead of gravity, there was calculation. Instead of emotion, there was opportunity. Like the significance of the moment wasn't felt, it was assessed, for what it could generate, for how it could be used. And if you've ever had a moment reduced to its utility, you understand exactly what that does to a person.
And I looked at him. He said, "Who's in this party bus?" I didn't think he knew I was in there. So when I popped up and like made eye contact with him, I thought maybe it would spook him and that he would like get out. And then I saw him hop over the seat into the van. And in this van, like, you're able to stand up fully straight up. He started running like towards me, and I was like, I'm dead. Like, this is the time I like either get like, you know, killed or something horrible. And I just remember saying like, please, no, no, no. Like, I just was begging him. I was like, you can have everything, like, of mine. You can have my purse, you can have my money. I couldn't find my purse anywhere. I was like, where the fuck is it? I was like, please help.
Outside of all that, the public side wasn't holding either. The backlash had moved past criticism. It had reached something colder. People weren't just frustrated anymore. They were waiting, watching the way you watch something that's already started falling, not to help, but to see how it lands. Confrontations in public where the room wasn't on his side. Creators saying things directly, face to face. He kept pushing into rooms that had already closed their doors on him. Like rejection wasn't a signal, just another challenge. And every time it didn't work, he didn't pull back. He doubled down, then tripled it like there was only ever one setting. More chaos. More noise. More moments engineered to spike attention no matter the cost. Because as long as the numbers moved, it felt like it was working. Until it didn't. Because the real world doesn't play by those rules. It doesn't care about virality or clips or engagement. When it hits, it doesn't feel like drama. It feels like weight. Like something you can't scroll past. Something that sticks. And for a second, it looked like that weight might finally land. But then, he's back. Posting, performing, acting like nothing ever happened. Like consequences are just another storyline to cycle through. Which makes you wonder, does any of it actually reach him anymore? Or has the constant performance swallowed everything else whole? Because when your entire life becomes content, what's left underneath it? The audience is still there, still watching, but something's changed. It's quieter now, colder, not support, not even hate. Because hate takes energy, investment. This feels different, distant, like people aren't reacting anymore. They're just observing, waiting. Like they know they're watching something unravel in real time, even if they can't quite see how it ends yet. And maybe that's the only question that matters now. Is this where it finally starts to fall apart, or is this just the part right before it gets worse? Drop your thoughts on comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.